Hey, this is John Bollinger with Premier Guitar. Today we're looking at 3 very cool reissues by Orange. Before I get into the details, please take a second to subscribe below. Thanks very much. So this reissue series is a cool origin story. I guess it was during the pandemic, Orange noticed that a bunch of Orange fans on their Facebook page were requesting a reissue of these. Well, they didn't really have the pedals or the details how to do it, but they contacted Mick Dines, who'd been with the company since the 70s, and he found the original tea-stained schematics on both the phaser, which was spelled with a Z back then, distortion, and sustainer, or the compressor. And here they are. They've reissued them, but they've made some important changes. For instance, there's an LED, which I really like. You can now plug them in as well as run them on batteries, and they're buffered. So why don't I kind of show you the details one by one? We'll go through them. So let's start with the sustain. But before we do, my bass tone, that's direct in. This is my Gibson Music City Les Paul plugged into the pedals, and that's running into a Fender Pro Reverb being mic'd to the 57. The pedals are being powered with a 1-spot. So bass tone. Now they say think of the sustain as an overdrive for your clean, which is kind of a cool way to put it, because your signal does stay clean, but you get some of those characteristics of an amp that's working a little bit harder, that compression. And to me, the sound of this is very natural, not too compressed. So let's start with the level up. There's a notch in the middle, and that's with the depth all the way down. We bring that up. To me, it just really wakes up that amp. And I don't feel like that is super compressed. It seems pretty subtle. But it kind of makes it a little easier to play. Things seem to cut through, and my loud stuff's quieter, and my stuff that's too quiet is louder. So I like that. A cool update they did with the LEDs is when you hit it hard, there's going to be a change in the color. Will kind of indicate when it kicks on. You may or may not be able to see that on camera, but it's a subtle indication of what it's doing. Now this has a ton of gain to it if you really give it the boost. And again, here's our bass tone. So that's giving you a pretty solid boost. Now if we bring that down a little bit, then we'll have a little bit more like. To me, that's a really great compressor. I think the best kind of compressor is you're not aware that it's being compressed, but things sound, I guess, a little smoother and a little more consistent. And to me, it kind of wakes the amp up. I feel like it kind of wakes up the high end a little bit. So let's move on, and we'll kind of combine this with some other pedals. Next, we have their distortion. And although it looks a lot like the original, it definitely has some upgrades. Originally, they did a back-to-back dial design, but now they went with an amp circuit, including a tone stack. And if you open it up, which I did, there's a treble adjustment as well, which is a great upgrade. LED, which is nice, in a very bright blue. There's our bass tone. Whoa, that thing coming in hot. Pretty rocking, right? Right now, let me goose up this depth. It has level and depth. Depth being drive. Let's just see how nasty this thing gets. Interestingly enough, I think when you goose that drive, it brings in more bottom end, which I like. Give a little more volume. Great, right? Now, let me put it kind of in a reasonable level and add the sustain with it. The thing about that sustain, if I had it, I'd be tempted to just leave it on all the time. Very addictive, but I think it kind of wakes up everything. Anyway, a cool side note too. You notice that these aluminum boxes are a little on the bigger side, which is the way they did it in the 70s. But what I like about that, these switches are mounted to this aluminum chassis rather than being mounted to the board as some of them do, because those inevitably break. But this is going to hold up to some stomps. Okay, let's get back to my final and favorite pedal, their phaser. It's much like the Phase 90, a single knob, but so much variety in this. Here it is straight up. And to me, it's really nailing that kind of 70s tone, kind of like that whole Bob Marley thing, like. And add the sustain with it. To me, it becomes so much more complex because you're bringing out those more subtle parts, and I love it like that. Goose it up a little bit more, and it's kind of that Stonesy thing. And it goes crazy fast if you like that. That just woozy, choppy thing, and it gets so fast. Great for that weird stuff. And then if you bring it way down here to like Van Halen land, be a little faster. Very cool, right? So good on you, Orange. I love the fact that you've brought these back at your fans' requests. And I love the fact that you found the original schematics. And although sourcing ancient parts is impossible, you made it really close to those original sounds, and I think gave it an upgrade in making it a more practical pedal and give you more variety. To read the full written review, go to premierguitar.com. While you're online, make sure you like us on Facebook, Instagram, talk, all that stuff. Subscribe to the magazine, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And just for funsies, let's play off with some single coils and see what happens.